Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. I am your host, the Fellow KGB, and today we're just finishing up the AFC East fantasy team previews. I just covered the other teams in the AFC East. Now we are on to the New York Jets. A lot of new energy in the building there, a lot of new faces, new coaching staff, a lot of things, moving parts. It's going to be hard to digest for fantasy football purposes, I think, this year. But we're going to try our best here. So, of course, new head coach Robert Saleh, offensive coordinator Mike LaFleur. Let's look into their backgrounds real quick. Of course, Robert Saleh, he's been the defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers the last few seasons. Before that, he was with Jacksonville as a linebackers coach. Before that, he was with Seattle, defensive quality control. And then he was with the Houston Texans for a while, 2005 all the way to 2010, linebackers coach, quality control, defensive intern. So he's been in the league, almost 15, 16 years. So he's got a lot of expertise on that side of the ball. He was one of the best defensive coordinators last year and in years past. So he's got a lot of things going for him. He's only 42 years old. So I think if you're a New York Jets fan, you got to be really excited about this hire, hopefully getting back to some of those hard smash mouth New York Jets teams that got to the AFC Championship on defense. So I really like the Saleh hire here. And then the offensive coordinator, who he brought with him from San Francisco. Mike LaFleur has been the passing game coordinator the last 2 seasons for San Fran. And then he was also the wide receivers coach / passing game coordinator. So he's been in San Francisco since 2017. A lot of good Kyle Shanahan probably principles and rules kind of coming along with him to New York. Before he got to San Francisco, he was with the Atlanta Falcons for 2 years as an offensive assistant, and then a Cleveland Browns offensive intern in 2014. So he's really young. He's 33, 34 years old. But he's been in the league since 2014, so this is a fun young offensive mind here. He's been learning from Kyle Shanahan. He's been with the Falcons. He's been with the Browns. We don't know if we care about that in 2014, but we're seeing a really fun mesh with the defensive-minded head coach, and then you're going to see Mike LaFleur's offense get implemented in here. So I would imagine a lot of similarities to his brother Matt LaFleur. And then just a lot of things learned from Kyle Shanahan here. So I'm pretty excited about what the Jets did with their coaching staff. And then let's move on. Before we get to the depth chart and the draft and everything, let's look at their free agency moves here. So, of course, the biggest departure was Sam Darnold getting traded to Carolina. They also lost starting guard Pat Elflein, defensive end Henry Anderson, linebackers Jordan Jenkins and Terrell Basham. Joe Flacco left. I think he's in Philadelphia now. And then starting wide receiver Brashad Perriman decided to go to, where did he end up? Detroit. He's on the Lions now. So their free agency moves, some pretty nice moves, some big names here. Defensive end Carl Lawson, wide receiver Corey Davis, defensive tackle Sheldon Rankins, Justin Hardy for cornerback. Keelan Cole is a good complementary wide receiver. Linebacker Gerard Davis, a good blocking tight end, Tyler Croft, and then running back Tevin Coleman. So this is a pretty nice free agency class this year. You got to think the Jets are going to play some better football this year. It's just really going to depend on their rookie quarterback, who really, he's going to be the day one starter. I would be surprised if he's not. They take Zach Wilson, number 2 overall. They gave him a lot of pieces to work with, too, here. So, of course, you see Wilson as the first overall pick for the Jets this season. They moved up to get a really good offensive guard here, Elijah Vera Tucker out of USC. Then they snag Elijah Moore, he's kind of like a better Jamison Crowder. He's a water bug kind of slot receiver, very shifty, very quick, very good with his hands. So I think we all love Elijah Moore. It's a really good fit. And they basically just wanted to get Zach Wilson his go-to security blanket right away to get him learning with him rookie season. And then they come back in the 4th round and select Michael Carter, who's one of the better pass-catching running backs in the draft class this year. I think the one area of his game that needs to be improved is the pass protection. So that's where we're going to be watching for him this summer to see if he's picking that up. But we'll move up to the depth chart in a little bit. We'll talk about the running backs, the wide receiver depth, and the tight end depth. But the rest of the draft was just heavy Robert Saleh defense. So he snags 2 safeties in the 5th round, a cornerback in the 5th round as well, another safety in the 6th, a cornerback in the 6th, and then a defensive tackle in the 6th. So a lot of defensive picks. They close out with 6 straight defensive picks after starting 4 offensive picks. So I like the move to surround Zach Wilson with some high draft capital picks and then just load up that defense, because I think everyone agrees that Saleh is a pretty good defensive coordinator and coach. He should be able to get the best out of some of these day 3 guys. So let's move up here and take a peek at the depth chart. You got the 3 guys in the blue here. Drafted Zach Wilson's going to be the starting quarterback. Backup is James Morgan, Mike White, the number 3. Now look at this running back depth chart. We have LaMichael Pirine, Michael Carter, Ty Johnson, Tevin Coleman, Josh Adams, and Pete Guerrero. I mean, it's not a lot of competition for a guy like Michael Carter, who probably could have been a 3rd-round pick. We never know. He was a high 4th-round pick, so he could have been on a lot of people's board in the 3rd round. But you add a guy like Michael Carter, who's probably, Tevin Coleman's there. He came over from San Francisco, so I can see the coaching staff wanting to trust him and getting him a pass-catching role to begin the season. But as far as a pure running back, Josh Adams might be the best pure downhill runner on this team. Michael Pirine, Ty Johnson, both smaller scat backs like a Tevin Coleman. So Michael Carter's kind of best. He's like the best all-around back, I would say. So he has a really legit chance of starting the season and getting the running back 1 role right away. So we're going to like him in fantasy drafts this year. I'm not willing to pay a 6th or 7th, 8th round price. Maybe 8th, 9th, 10th round. That's where we're talking about here. Because as much as I like what the Jets did in free agency in the draft this year, we're still a year or 2 away from this offense really being useful for fantasy football. So I do like Michael Carter, but he's more of a dynasty asset. Looking at the wide receivers, you got Corey Davis as the 1, Jamison Crowder in the slot, Denzel Mims on the outside, and we're probably going to see Elijah Moore work into the slot as well. I think there's potential to maybe move Jamison Crowder, release Jamison Crowder, trade him, do what you can with him. But this is looking like assuming Crowder's gone in the future, Corey Davis, Denzel Mims, Elijah Moore, that's a really solid wide receiver group for a young Zach Wilson. So I like what they got going on here for fantasy football. I don't know if I can trust a Corey Davis, Jamison Crowder, Mims, or Elijah Moore. I'm thinking we're going to need to know what's going on in training camp this summer, so I can't really give you guys an answer yet as to who I like the most. I'll pull up my projections in a second, but it's going to be a huge committee approach. I think they paid Corey Davis, so it's safe to assume that he's probably the one useful guy. But Jamison Crowder in the slot, we'll see if he can last. But Mims is still young. Elijah Moore, rookie season. They got some nice veterans on the depth chart here, though. Keelan Cole, Vincent Smith, Josh Doxson. We'll see if he can stick around. So I like the wide receiver depth here. This looks like a really nice room, assuming Jamison Crowder's gone in the future, but he's here for now. And then the tight end room, Chris Herndon, he's back again. Ryan Griffin's back. Both those guys are under contract. Tyler Kroft was the addition in free agency, and then they added Kenny Yeboah, the UDFA, to bolster the tight end room. So it's a good tight end room. We'll see if they can get the best out of Chris Herndon this season. The San Francisco 49ers have had George Kittle the last few years, even back to Michael LaFleur's days with Atlanta. They know how to use tight end. So I'm optimistic to seeing Chris Herndon do something with all that athletic potential. But again, as far as fantasy football, I really don't know who I can trust on the Jets this year. I'm probably not going to try to make a draft plan around any of these guys. If they fall, I might end up taking a team or a player that's on a more productive team. But I'm open to it. So this is going to be something that I need to watch during the summer. Once training camps start, I'm going to be interested in Zach Wilson. I want to hear who he's throwing the ball to the most. And we'll see about these tight ends. Because, again, San Francisco has really utilized the tight end well over the seasons. And I think Kyle Shanahan's offense is going to kind of bleed over here into New York. So for 2021, I'm not very optimistic on the New York Jets. But long term, this has the makings of something pretty fun. You're going to have Zach Wilson, Michael Carter, Corey Davis, Denzel Mims, Elijah Moore, and then we'll see what happens at tight end. I think there could be some moving around parts next year. But overall, you're going to get Wilson with his future starting running back, maybe his best pass catching running back, and then you're giving him Corey Davis, Denzel Mims, Elijah Moore. So that receiving group is going to be pretty solid. So I like what we're doing here. We just got to take our lumps this rookie season. But man, a lot of fun things brewing in New York. Let me just pull up my projections real quick for you guys. So I'm assuming this is going to be a run-heavy focused offense. I just don't know who's going to run the ball. So I ended up giving Michael Carter the most carries on the team, 155 carries, 645 yards, 3 touchdowns. But again, he's going to be most useful in the passing game. I got him with 31 catches, 2 touchdowns there. For the receivers, I got Corey Davis leading the way in yards, but I think Jamison Crowder leads the team in receptions. Maybe even touchdowns too, just because he's a quick target. Denzel Mims should have a nice sophomore season, just nothing yet for fantasy. And then Elijah Moore is going to have a nice season, pretty similar to Denzel Mims, just probably less yards per catch. Mims is more of a vertical threat. So I think all these guys are just going to kind of cap each other with value for fantasy football this year. So again, not excited about these Jets playmakers for fantasy this year, but excited to watch the Jets in general. I think they could be pretty pesky, steal a few games from a couple good teams. And then the tight ends, Chris Herndon, I got him with 27 catches, 275, and a touchdown. But Zach Wilson, this is the one we're interested the most in. I ended up giving him about 3,500 yards passing, 19 touchdowns, and 4 rushing touchdowns. So he's just going to need to watch his turnovers, stay positive, and just build on this rookie season for the future. He's got a lot of pieces around him, a lot of good minds, offense, defense, and hopefully he kind of just settle in. And the Jets are gonna take their lumps in the AFC East this year. If you've watched my other videos, you guys know the East is gonna be tough. Patriots are gonna be a hell of a lot better. The Dolphins are gonna be a hell of a lot better, and then same with the Buffalo Bills. They're looking at the bottom floor for the season, the 4th place AFC East New York Jets this year. But a lot of future promise and good things on the horizon. So thank you guys. That's going to be it for the New York Jets video. Go back and check out the other AFC East videos if you haven't seen those. I'm going to be recording the NFC East maybe Thursday, Friday. I'm not sure in the coming days, but we'll get some of those uploaded shortly. But that's going to be it. Thank you guys so much. Have a good night. Peace.